Hello and welcome back to my channel, Checks, Captures, Threats. In today's video, we are now on episode 71 of the chess guide, and it's going to be an example game between Mikhail Tal and Anatoly Karpov. So, this is a game in which I'm going to say now White had won, as Mikhail Tal, a very known chess player for his sacrifices and how he can see 10 moves ahead and sacrifice every piece, and he has two brilliants here, as you'll see. And again, he's facing another player who is very much big in the scene every time. So obviously it's going to be a very good game to go through, as if you see on the right hand side here, the 89.5% accuracy for Mikhail Tal and the 71.6% for Anatoly Karpov, and it is very good here. So let's go through it. So we start with e4 as Mikhail Tal, and this is responded with c6, formerly known as the Caro-Kann defense here. So, Mikhail Tal here plays a little bit of a different move. Now, normally, here you would see moves like d4, or even knight to f3, or even f3 here, maybe trying to play what's called the fantasy variation. But instead, he plays c4 here, obviously attacking this d5 square, which d5 is still played, and now we get these captures. Now here, knight to f6, again, a very logical move here, and knight to c3 is responded, and again, we kind of get into this position where it's almost Sicilian-like, I would say, with how this e pawn and c pawn has actually gone now, as sometimes that will happen in the trade-off. And now we get a few more captures as Mikhail Tal takes here with the b pawn to obviously look at maybe trying to Frenchetto here, and also if he took with this pawn, obviously there would have been a queen capture where he wouldn't have been able to have castled. Now g6 is played, obviously Anatoly Karpov is looking to Frenchetto his bishop, and we see that right now, as White also goes to gain his centre, as we see quite a few times here. And now you see Black has a very solid position, with White having a good position as well after casting, but not as good as Black's defence. Knight c6, and the last book move, rook to e1. So now, after this, we are out of 11 moves in, and we're still on a book move. Is very, big theory, we can say here. Rook to e8 is responded. Now, they're saying this is a mistake. I'd say there's a few reasons why this could be. Obviously, he needs to, Karpov hasn't got all his pieces out, I would say. We know that's going to go to here, I think, if there wouldn't really be any other place. But he also hasn't really got this pawn out in the centre yet, and also this f7 pawn is now very weak. So, bishop to g5, they call it is a miss here, but I would say that this is a very nice move, stopping this e pawn from going to the centre. They're recommending rook to b1 here, but again, I feel like the engine here is a bit wrong in human-like moves here, as we wouldn't really be wanting to go for this. But another miss here, bishop to e6, as they're trying to really, this is just tempo gaining. Now this has a few reasons why it's not the best, as it just blocks everything in here. And this is Mikhail Tal's first sacrifice of capturing e6 here. Now, what this does here is it's a rook for a bishop, and what this is going to do is after the capture, he is now really easy to get this pawn soon, and now this held king, the protection is just gone and it's destroyed here. And now this bishop move, very nice. I could have done the queen move as well. It's probably going to end up that sort of thing, as he plays queen e2, attacking this pawn. And now you can see the only way to really defend it is something like knight to d8 here, which is a mistake, as we can just keep bringing pieces as white. Now rook to c8, very nice move, trying to force some sort of captures going along. And then knight to d2. Now this is a mistake, but this is kind of positional chess, you could say, in this matter, that Mikhail Tal is moving this knight into probably a square like this, and also protecting this bishop. While if we just have a look at the pieces from this position, I would say White is definitely in a winning position, only about half a point up on the eval bar here, but I would say White is definitely in a much more profound position, and if it was me, I'd prefer to be White here. Now, king to h8 is a miss. Again, I'm still with the engine. I'm only putting this on just in case there's any big blunders, which we'll see. But again, they're saying it's a miss there. They could have moved the queen that. But in my opinion, getting rid of this pin, Karpov did a good job. Now, knight to e4, like we said, is a very strong move here, protecting this bishop, attacking the queen, and it's just starting to really gather some attack on these sort of squares. So the queen goes back now, and the bishop returns back, obviously having two attackers onto them. Now, e5. I don't know about this move. Obviously, capturing is probably not the best idea just yet, but this whole bishop queen activity does not look the best now. But h4 is a great move, as it's the only move that works, and what he's going to be looking at is pushing this pawn as much as he can. So there's a capture now, and he goes again. He doesn't care about these pawns here. He can allow those to happen. Now, a big blunder here. So this was now 1 point up for white, and now goes all the way up to 3.96, pretty much 4 points up now, and he misses a huge fork here. And it's really weird to see what this is, as it's attacking this rook here, and you know, it's actually blocking everything. If they try and move the rook somewhere like this, there's all sorts of things. Now this pawn's going, but weirdly enough, there's even this capture. It's really, really difficult to see, as then you've got this check, and it will be mate shortly after, as it's a very, very difficult thing to see. Mikhail Tal maybe could have seen it, but he takes his pawn, which is still very good, as realistically, if you was black, you would think you're about 4 points down in this position alone. Anyway, the best move here, rook to f8, and now a bit more of a positional move again here, moving the bishop, so even if this capture did happen here, I think it's fine. Now, queen to e5, a great move, as it stops all of this happening, and this discovered attack, which would be knight to f6, though knight to g3, the second brilliant move of this game. And why is this a brilliant move? Well, we're sacrificing a rook, but when we move this king, we've now got rid of this threat. So as we see here, h6 is a blunder. It did not work. They should have put the bishop away. I was giving away a bishop anyway. They capture. King has to go g8. Obviously can't recapture, as this is going to be mate. So has to capture here, move the king, recaptures now, and this is Karpov's last hope, but there is a mate in 3 after the king moves here. They go check, forcing it back, and then last but not least, h6 here, forcing it to go there, and this will be checkmate. So Karpov resigns in this position, and Mikhail Tal wins. So what did we learn from this game here? Sacrificing pieces, as we've gone through before in a very old YouTube video, we've gone through many a times about how to sacrifice here, but also how we can use stuff like just basic principles here. White had such a good centre here, develop their pieces out. Well, if we just go through halfway through this game, maybe like here, look at how the pieces are formed for each team. You know, these rooks aren't really the best. Maybe this rook here is very good because it's got a semi-open file. This rook's blocked. This bishop's blocked. This knight is on the back rank again, and this queen is being attacked, forcing to retreat. Double pawns in the centre, king on the edge. Whereas if we look at white, a bishop attacking the centre here, a knight in the best position possible probably. This bishop maybe not in the best position, but can easily retreat anywhere. Its queen and rook joint up and ready to move to anywhere, and the pawn structure is very good on the defence end, with king just staying put. So that was the game between Mikhail Tal and Anatoly Karpov. So hopefully you enjoyed that example game. Obviously go through these every 3 episodes, I think it would be now. So hopefully you enjoyed that. So thank you, and bye bye.